Today we're going to tackle one of the biggest questions in all of philosophy, and our guide is none other than Aristotle, using his masterwork, the Nicomachean Ethics, which is, believe it or not, 2,400 years old.
At some point, we all ask ourselves this, don't we? What's the point of all this? Am I living a good life? Well, turns out that's the exact question that drove Aristotle's entire investigation into ethics.
And here's the thing. While you might think you already know what it means to be happy, Aristotle's answer is probably going to challenge everything you thought you knew. His idea of a good life, well, it's not what you think.
So to really get what Aristotle is talking about, we have to start by completely redefining the word happiness itself. His entire philosophy is built on an idea that's radically different from ours.
This right here is the heart of the matter. For us, happiness is a feeling, right? It's a mood. It's subjective. It comes and goes. But for Aristotle, happiness isn't something you feel. It's something you do. It's an activity, a life's work you achieve over time. The Greek term he used is eudaimonia. Now, it often gets translated as happiness, but a much, much better translation is human flourishing. Think of a plant that's got the perfect sunlight, the perfect soil, the perfect amount of water. It's thriving. Eudaimonia is that state for a human being. It's us living at our absolute best by consistently acting with excellence.
Okay, so if happiness, or flourishing, is an activity, the next obvious question is, how do we get good at it? How do we perform that activity well? For Aristotle, the answer is simple. You follow the path of virtue.
And again, we need a new definition. The Greek word here is aretē. Forget what you think virtue means. Aretē just means excellence. A knife can have aretē if it cuts perfectly. So what's the unique function of a human? Our ability to reason. So human aretē, or human virtue, is all about exercising our reason in the most excellent way possible.
Now this is absolutely crucial. You don't become a good person by reading about it in a book. Aristotle is super clear on this. Moral virtue is a habit. It's like learning an instrument. You can't just study music theory, you have to pick up the guitar and practice, right? You have to practice being generous, practice being brave, over and over, until it's just second nature.
This is where Aristotle's thinking gets really sharp, because he draws this fascinating line between someone who just does the right thing and someone who is a genuinely good person. To see what he means, imagine two soldiers on the battlefield. The first soldier is what Aristotle would call continent. He's absolutely terrified, but through sheer force of will, he overcomes that fear and does his duty. Now the second soldier, the truly virtuous one, also feels fear, but it's the right amount of fear for the situation. His feelings and his reason are in perfect sync. He acts bravely, not because he's fighting himself, but because that's just who he is. So let me ask you, which of these two soldiers is the truly courageous one in Aristotle's view? The one who has to fight his inner demons, or the one who's in harmony with himself?
It's the virtuous soldier. And I know, that might seem a little strange to us. We tend to celebrate the struggle, the overcoming of temptation. But for Aristotle, that inner battle is a sign that your character isn't fully formed yet. True virtue is a state of inner peace, where doing the right thing just feels natural.
So, how do we get to that place of harmony? This leads us to Aristotle's most famous practical tool, something called the golden mean. Now, the golden mean isn't about being boringly moderate or always splitting the difference. It's about precision. It's about hitting the bullseye in any given situation, having the exact right emotional response towards the right person for the right reason. Not too much, not too little.
Courage is the perfect example. The virtue of courage is the mean that sits perfectly between two vices. On one end, you have the deficiency, which is cowardice. On the other end, you have the excess, which is recklessness. Real courage is that sweet spot in the middle, acting in a way that is perfectly appropriate to the danger you're facing.
So, when you put this all together, what makes Aristotle's way of thinking about morality so different and so powerful even today? Well, the biggest difference is the question he starts with. See, a lot of ethical theories ask what is the right action to take. They focus on rules, or duties, or the consequences of your actions. But Aristotle asks a totally different question. What kind of person should I be? For him, it's all about building a virtuous character, because if you do that, the right actions will naturally follow.
And this brings us full circle, right back to that powerful distinction between the two soldiers, the one who struggles and the one who doesn't. And it leaves us with one final, really deep thought to chew on.
Aristotle's answer is pretty clear, but what about for us?
Is a good character defined by the battles we win against ourselves, or is it about shaping our character so well that we don't even have to fight those battles in the first place? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this one.